So we use electricity, that is electric current, in many ways. It is used to run fans, lights, ACs, right? Room heaters, televisions, geysers, refrigerators, bulbs, grinders, computers, etc. Right? So all these electric appliances are connected to the electric wires through a wires, right? Electric wires through these devices, and these are connected to a switch on. All the devices starts running, and whenever we make the switch to off, so all those devices are stop working, right? So all these devices are running based upon electricity. We have two types of sources: small sources, big sources. There are two types: small sources, big sources. Right. Small sources. What are small sources of electricity? Right. A cell. A small source of electricity is nothing but a cell. These cells is a small source of electric current. So these are used to operate very small devices like torches, transistors, radios, right, and tape recorders, etc. And these small sources are also used in watches, calculators, right? So whatever the devices which are very small, and to run those small devices we will use small source of electricity like a cell. Clear? And coming to the big sources. So these are used for producing large amount of electric current. Small sources are for small amounts of current. It is for large amount of current. Right? So the important source of big sources, right? The important source of electric current in this big source is nothing but generating station, power generating station, right? So in this big source, the device, the machine which is used to produce electricity, those what we call as generators. What are those? Generators or alternators. Generators or alternators, right? So, and those what we call as electric generators, right? So the electric energy generated at the power stations is supplied from one place to another place through a long distance, very large distance, through the electric wires. Those wires we call as a cables, right? So next one is about cell. A cell is a device which converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Chemical energy into electrical energy. Electrical energy. And it is nothing but a cell which looks like a small cylindrical metal cap, right? So the heaviness, the weightness of the cell, that is due to it is filled with some chemicals, right? So inside the cell there is a carbon rod at the center, and at the top of the cell a metal cap is fixed, right? The entire can is sealed with the metal cap, right? Metal can, right? So to the cell, one end acts as a positive and one end acts as a negative, right? So the cell will look like the metal can. So inside the metal can there is a carbon rod, and along with this carbon rod some chemicals are placed. Okay, so one side acts as a positive. Positive is represented with plus, and one side acts as a negative. Negative is denoted with minus. Clear? And it is nothing but a cell. And button cells also will look like a small button. It is the metal can. Inside the metal can there is a carbon rod. So the carbon rod is surrounded with some chemicals, right? It looks like a button. So that's why it is called as button cell. So this cell is used in calculators, watches, and it is used in alarms, wall clocks, toy cars, etc. Clear? Types of cells. So these cells are classified into two types. First one is primary cells. Second one is secondary cells. Primary cells, secondary cells. Remember, primary cells are the cells. So these are use and throw cells. That means these cells cannot be recharged again. That means these cells cannot be recharged. Once we will use these cells after the completion of usage, we must dispose or throw away. And these cells can never be used to recharge it again, and we cannot use. So example for this is dry cell. Example for this is dry cell. Right. Clear? Next, secondary cells. So these secondary cells, can be recharged, and again we can use it. So if the charge is done in that cell, again we can recharge it for number of times, and then we can use it. And these cells are nothing but secondary cells. Example, nickel cadmium cells. Example, nickel cadmium cells. These cells are used in watches, wall clocks, etc. And these are used in mobile phones, right? And recharging torchlight. In some torchlights we will use for recharging purpose, and we will use the torchlight to charge it, right? So in those cases we will use this secondary cells, right? And coming to the primary cells, we have some primary cells like voltaic cells, Lagrange cell, dry cell, bichromatic cell, etc. And we are going to learn about all those voltaic, Lagrange, dry cell, and bichromatic cell. Remember, nowadays the solar cells are used, right? So which converts solar energy into electrical energy. It is the cheapest and cleanest form of energy, right? Now we are going to learn about different types of primary cells. Clear? Voltaic cell. Voltaic cell. Right. This cell was introduced in the year in 1786 by the scientist named as Voltaire. He is the scientist who invented the first electric cell, and that first electric cell in the year 1786. He is an Italian scientist. He is an Italian scientist. So, by the name of Voltaire, the cell called it as voltaic cell. So, it is nothing but a beaker, consists of a beaker, and that beaker is filled with dilute H2SO4 solution, right? Inside this dilute H2SO4 solution, copper rod and zinc rod are placed. Right, and these copper rod and zinc rods are placed in this dilute H2SO4 solution. Okay, and these two, copper and zinc, are connected with the help of a wire, which means these two are not connected directly. From these two rods, the wires are taken and the wires are connected to the load, like a bulb, something etc. So here in this, one is copper and another is zinc rod. Copper rod here acts as a positive and zinc rod acts as negative. Okay, so the current flows through these wires which are connected, and so that the bulb glows. Here the case is the bulb glows, right? And here I said that we used the sulfuric acid as a solution. Here sulfuric acid acts as an electrolyte. It is nothing but electrolyte, and electrolyte is nothing but the solution which allows the electricity to pass through it. So with the help of this voltaic cell, there are two defects, right? So that first one is local action. Two defects are important: local action, and second one is polarization. Local action and polarization are the two major defects of this voltaic cell. So local action is nothing but here the currents are passing through the electrodes. Okay. So here the currents are passing through the same electrons for number of times. So here the battery capacity will be reduces, because the electrons are passing through the same metals like carbon and zinc. So it is passing for number of times, so that the decrease in capacity of the battery occurs, and that is nothing but local action. Polarization is nothing but here the electrolysis processing is done, so that the liberation of hydrogen gas at the positive terminal, that is carbon rod, so that around that positive terminal the hydrogen gas is liberated, so that it covers along that positive terminal. So the electrolysis process is not being done with the copper rod, so that the electricity may not produce. So that is nothing but polarization. Local action is nothing but passing of same electrons to the from and to, right? So through the same rod for number of times, so that the battery capacity will reduces. Whereas the polarization is nothing but liberation of hydrogen gas around that copper rod, so the electrolysis process is not done, and that the contact between copper and H2SO4 is made. is not connected properly due to that hydrogen gas is surrounded by that copper rod. So that is nothing but polarization. Clear? So that local action can be prevented by amalgamating zinc. By amalgamating zinc around that, right, around the rods, both rods, so that copper rod and zinc rod is covered by zinc. Whereas polarization can be prevented by using oxidizing agents like magnesium dioxide, potassium bichromate, nitric acid, copper sulfate. So by using these we can prevent the polarization. By using these like oxidizing agents like manganese dioxide, potassium bichromate, nitric acid and copper sulfate, so that the polarization can be prevented. Second one is about Lagrange cell. So this Lagrange cell was invented in the year 1865 by the scientist named as Lagrange George. Lagrange George. He is the scientist who invented this Lagrange cell, right? So this cell is free from the defects of voltaic cell. Those voltaic cell has two defects, namely local action and polarization. But this cell is free from those two defects. Clear? So this Lagrange cell is of two types: Lagrange cell, wet Lagrange cell, dry Lagrange cell. Wet Lagrange and dry. Wet in the sense we use electrolyte like solution like H2SO4. Dry in the sense we use it in powder way, right? So this Lagrange cell construction will be nothing. It is has the construction of like pot, cylindrical pot. Next, to this in this pot, NH4Cl solution is mixed. NH4Cl. To this NH4Cl solution, in this NH4Cl solution, two rods are placed, carbon and zinc. Carbon rod and zinc rod. This zinc rod, carbon rod is covered with MnO2 and charcoal powder. It is covered with MnO2 and charcoal powder. Right? This is the carbon rod and it is zinc rod. It acts as a plus, it acts as minus, right? So, and these two are connected to the load like a bulb or any load, so that the bulb glows. Clear? So, the main defects of this Lagrange cell is this cell cannot give the continuous current for a long time. It doesn't give the current for a long time. Right? So we can use this cell for intermittent currents, to produce intermittent current like electric bell, telegraph, telephone. So that means we will use this type of cells for short uses like bell. When we press the bell, whenever we require, then only we press the bell for very short amount of time, right? So for those purposes, for small currents, we will use this Lagrange cell, right? So in the next class, we will discuss about dry cell and bichromate cell. Dry cell and bichromate cell.